Welcome to the week 1 meeting of the First Rookie Conference calls. Hopefully everyone had a good kickoff on Saturday and has learned a lot about the game. We're going to talk through a couple things tonight on parts and kit apart stuff, strategy, kind of dissect the game a little bit, and we'll go from there. So the first thing that we had talked about, or that I sent out on the checklist, is make sure that you read the rules. And then the second thing on the checklist was make sure you read the rules again. So it's very important that you understand the rules. Also, there was a rules update that was posted yesterday, I believe. Clint, did you get a chance to look at that? I didn't look too deep into it. Was there anything important or earth-shattering in that?
There were a few clarifications on the update. The biggest one that would affect people from a strategy standpoint, I think, was the definition of climb was changed slightly. The definition of climb used to be that you need to be above the 12-inch mark on the scale, but you must be fully supported either directly or transversely by the scale. Make sure you understand what the definition of the scale is, because the scale is the rung, the tower, and the platforms. So the new rule updated to say you are not allowed, to be considered climbing, you need to be, once again, still fully supported either directly or transversely, but you cannot be touching the platform, and that is you cannot be touching the platform. However, that's not to say that someone else is touching the platform, supporting you, and your bumpers are above that zone. So that's probably the biggest item. A lot of the other stuff wasn't too big. You still want to read it, make sure you understand. The only other one I can think of is now you have to wait a second. You have to basically have ownership, if you will, or have control of the scales or switches for at least 1 second before you will get that point, and then a point per second. So what that means is, in order to gain ownership is going to be a second delay. However, I think when you lose ownership, you will lose that instantaneously as soon as it's lifted up a little bit higher. So.
Do you mind discussing the transversely comment?
So yeah, so transversely means you could have, let's say that I am standing on the platform, and so if I'm standing on the platform, I am fully supported by the scale. However, I'm touching the platform, and say Brandy steps on my shoulders. Now Brandy is transversely through me, fully supported by the scale, but however, she is not touching the platform. So by having Brandy on my shoulders, she now is considered to be climbing. So that opens up avenues for some designs that will let you be able to do stuff. So I kind of talked about saying there's kind of 3 different styles of this. You have the Hulk design, where you say, I am going to hook onto the tower and I'm going to grab you and I'm going to lift you up with me because I'm so strong I can lift both of us. There is the I call it the doppelganger tower, where you present a whole nother tower for people to reach up and hang off of. So you take up a little space, but you present another tower for someone to hook onto. And then the other one would be like a ramp bot, which is a robot that looks like a ramp. You drive up it, you get above the 12 inches, and they fully support you, but they use the levitate for themselves.
So does everybody kind of understand that? Because that's potentially going to be a big portion of the game, is being able to have some way that you don't necessarily have to do that, but being able to be compliant with other teams that can do that maybe or will be important at the competition. So whether you have some type of provision that can hook on a hook that somebody else may have, or you have the ability to drive up a ramp and get on another robot, I think that's going to be a key portion of the game, or the end game this year. All right. Any questions on that? Questions on the rules?
Make sure you guys pipe up if you have any questions. We are definitely here to help you. And if you don't know exactly what to ask, but you have an idea of what you want to ask, we're also here to have discussion. So if you guys just want to have a discussion about something, for clarification, feel free to chime in.
Okay,
So
this is Deandra.
Oh, go ahead.
Yep.
Deandra?
Where can we find the updated rules?
We are
I just put a link, yep, in the notes, so we'll send that out
Okay.
with the recording tonight, hopefully tonight.
Okay, cool.
I am feverishly taking notes as you guys are all talking, trying to type as fast as Clinton and Jason can talk. All right. So
The other thing is, to be honest, for people, if you want updates, you do FRC 2018 manual in Google. It's usually the first link. And that page, you scroll down halfway down, it'll say Team Update 1 or Team Update 2 and give you all those updates there as well. I usually Google it, and it usually comes up pretty quick. As long as you do, like I said, FRC 2018 manual.
all right.
Okay. Is there any other questions?
I have a question for Clinton. This is Pete speaking. You guys can hear me, right?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. Clinton, what do you think if you're going to be a ramp bot or you want to go up onto a ramp bot, what do you think the appropriate size for their chassis is going to be? If you want to be the one that goes on top of a ramp bot, what kind of sizing do you want to try to build your robot to so that you can go up on it?
So people that are going to come up with designs like that are considered like a ramp bot. The ramp bot, good ramp bot designers will try to ensure that their ramp that they have is at least the same as the platform that is there. The angle, the approach angle and depart angle and all that good stuff is the same as the field. So the theory behind that is if you can go up the platform, you can go up their ramp. However, I think some better teams might make a lower approach angle maybe, that it makes it a little bit easier for teams to, like even easier to go up their ramp than the platform. I think most people are ramp bots are gonna assume that people will be in the long configuration. I think a wide configuration is gonna be a little bit harder to accommodate, so going wide might be a little bit more difficult to accommodate for ramps. And if you can shrink your robot, you know, just a little bit to be a little smaller, that could be helpful to ramps as well. The only concern with shrinking your robot a little bit is if someone assumes, you know, full dimension and they have two small spots where your wheels go and your wheels aren't in that location, you won't be able to drive up them. But that's kind of, you know, it's a shot in the dark, you know, maybe only 5% of ramp bots have that problem, right? So I think long configurations, keeping your bumpers as high as possible probably this year is going to be a good thing. If you lower your bumpers to be very low when you're going up this ramp bot or ramps or the platforms, you might actually rub or interfere. Your bumpers will actually interfere first maybe before your frame and the rest of your robot. So make sure when you're doing tests on going up the platform or other things that you do have, you know, bumper-like things at least. You know, even if you take a piece of plywood and you duct tape, you know, 2 pool noodles to it just to say that's where my bumper will be when they're finalized, but have it on there when you're doing that testing, because a lot of people will run a chassis and it'll work great with no bumpers, and then when they put the bumpers on, the bumpers start hitting other things, I guess. So I don't know if that answers the question.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
So Pete, just to clarify, your question was, if you were to be someone climbing up a ramp, not being the ramp.
Correct.
Okay, because that's definitely something that rookie teams want to take into consideration, is being able to climb up the ramp. I'm not necessarily saying that it's out of the question for rookie teams to build a ramp, but they are very resource intensive and have to be designed exactly right in order for them to be effective. So like what you're saying, that's definitely something that every rookie team should take into consideration.
Hey, Clint, while we're on that topic, what are you thinking on wheel size? And
Sorry, I'm going in
be
and out of
able to
meetings.
get
Sorry.
onto the. No, that's fine.
Yeah, sorry. It takes a little delay. I'm in the car. I want to make sure there's not too much background noise. In terms of wheel size, gut feeling is you're going to probably need at least a 6-inch diameter wheel to get up the platform. You might be able to get away with doing like a 4-inch wheel when you go straight at the platform. But the concern comes in if you know where the platform comes to a point. If you try to go up on that kind of 45-degree angle to the platform, not on the 90s, what will happen is you'll probably the plane will scrape your underside of your chassis or your bumpers or something like that first before the wheels actually touch the ramp. There was a nice white paper. I can try to send a link, but if people want to find it, if you go to buildblitz.com, I think, Vex Robotics, they did a Build Blitz back in 2015 there was a similar type platform or bump you had to go over, and they had this nice little white paper that talked about all the different approach angles and things that you would want to test when you have, you know, a slope, a ramp, or, you know, kind of platform type thing. So again, it would help you, like, you know, figure out and read to say, hey, maybe we should test this. Even for adults and mentors, you know, some mentors maybe on the call tonight are like, I don't do this, I have no clue what I'm doing. You can read this paper, get an idea, and then start discussion with your teams, and they're going to be like, how did you even think of this? And be like, I don't know, I just read this cool little white paper, and it told me a lot of information. So, but definitely the gut feeling is probably at least 6-inch. I don't know if you need to go crazy and do very, very large wheels. The problem, though, with the larger the wheels you get, it makes it where the distance between your two wheels get closer, which means you have a higher chance of being more tippy and flip over. So if you got a robot with 6-inch wheels, you're pretty good. If you go to like 12-inch wheels, those wheels are going to have to be really close to each other because of the frame, and you might tip over a little easier.
Yeah, so we were looking at 8-inch wheels. That seems to be a pretty good compromise. 6, like you said, Clint, looks like it's gonna would rub the bottom of your robot on the point. And then there's also that I think it's what, a 3/4-inch electrical covering on the field for the wires in the lanes that you have to traverse to. So you got to be careful that you leave enough ground clearance for that. So you don't want to put your bumpers like right on the floor, or you're never going to be able to get around the field.
Yeah.
Is there any more questions? All right. So everyone by now should have gotten their kit of parts. There is the kit of parts inventory online. So I believe, yeah, so tomorrow is the deadline for any of your parts from the kit of parts. So there's a process on doing that. Does anybody know that they're missing parts from their kit of parts?
I'm not missing a part, but I have a broken laptop.
Oh, okay. Have you contacted anybody about that yet?
Yeah, I followed the procedure and put my request in.
Okay. Good, good. Okay, so there's that, and then the first choice stuff. So first choice, the round 2 priority lists close tomorrow at noon. So if you don't get your list in by tomorrow at noon, doesn't mean that you lose all your points. It just means that you may not get the things that you desire. because basically what they're going to do is they're going to go through all the priority lists and try to fill as many people's needs as possible, and then you may be left with whatever's left to choose from. So I believe in the notes from last week, or we'll put them in the notes for this week, how to log in on the first choice and set up your priority list. Has anybody done that, or anybody not done their priority list yet?
This is Pete from 7056. Mine's in.
Yours is in?
Mm-hmm.
Is anybody having trouble getting in or any issues with that?
No, I was able to take care of 7221.
Okay. If you have issues, let me know. Send me an email, and we'll work through that.